Welcome to your Magnetic Purpose podcast, where human design meets astrology and tarot. I'm your host, Ashley Hood. Get ready to explore, evolve, and embrace your fullest potential. Welcome to a journey of self-discovery like no other. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Ashley Hood, your host. So today I wanted to get into the conversation of change. I know that it is a conversation that can be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but right now we have Pluto leaving its sign that it's been in for a very, very long time, Capricorn, and moving into Aquarius. And there is a lot of kind of nervous tension in the air. I know that there's a lot of people going through some closures in their life right now. There's some reactivations. It's just very wild and intense, the energy that's going on at the moment. So what better way to kind of figure out how we deal with change as an individual by looking at our human design, tarot, and astrology that is centered around change. So we'll kick it off with human design. So when it comes to change and your human design, each one of the energy types has their own specific and unique way to dealing with change. So for the manifestors are the initiators. They are used to being the ones that create change, but when change is happening to them, it can be a little bit more uncomfortable for them because it is not something they initiated. So a good tip for a manifestor when it comes to change is when there is a situation that is beyond your control that you didn't actually initiate, it is best to honor your rest and your initiation cycles. So when this is happening to you, it's a really great time to rest and reflect and think about the energy that's going on around you. A really practical way that you can do this is by journaling. Manifestors are great at knowing just the right time to move and the right time to rest. So knowing that there is a change outside of yourself that's happening, this is the universe letting you know it is time to rest. When you get a chance to rest and reflect, that's actually when your magic starts to kick up again, and then you get your next thing to initiate or your next impact that you're supposed to make. Now, when it comes to generators and manifesting generators, they are the ones that are more likely to be responding to change. We're not I say we because I'm a generator. Generators and manifesting generators are not the type to be initiating change. That's not correct for their energy type. They are meant to respond to life. So a manifesting generator or a generator is going to do the best by when change is coming at them, that they just go with the flow and they look for the right moments to respond to the change that's happening. If they try and initiate or push against change, it's only going to leave them completely frustrated and burnt out. So a really good way that the generator or manifesting generator can start to work with that energy of change is by really taking time to practice what their sacral energy feels like inside of their body. So this can look like if you're facing a big life decision about moving or about work, being in a quiet space with yourself or even just in front of a mirror and practicing asking yourself yes or no questions until you can kind of pinpoint when your sacral kicks in and lights you up. That's how you're going to know that you're actually on the right side of the change and just not trying to push against it and actually stall yourself. And the next is our projectors. So projectors are the great wise seers. They probably saw this change coming a mile away, and they are really meant to be the ones that are observing. However, the best way for them to deal with change is if they put themselves in a situation where they can feel recognized and they have the right moment to invite themselves into the change that's happening for them. So a practical way that they could work with this would be if change is coming at you, practicing patience and really waiting for that key moment when you are getting an invitation to show your gifts or to shine or to show up fully in that process of change for yourself. This could look like, say something's happening at work or you're thinking about a big move And just taking time to be really quiet and maybe journaling or reflecting the type of environment that you want that change to feel like or to bring about. And then you're going to start to see kind of where you can intertwine your own energy into that environment. And that in itself is an invitation for you. Another way that you could use this practically would be if you were in the midst of change or change was happening to you and it was uncomfortable. Really just taking the time to reflect and kind of ground in and be patient with this change and waiting for that key moment that only you know is coming to be able to respond or being able to be initiated into the change. There will be a moment where either the universe or the powers that be or a person who's initiating this change is going to ask for your opinion. They're going to invite you in to share your wise knowledge about the change that's coming your way. So just practicing that patience for the right moment of recognition for you is going to be what is going to make sure that this change for you makes you feel successful and not bitter. And then our reflectors. The best way that a reflector can deal with change is to wait a 28-day lunar cycle. Reflectors are known for being the mirrors of society. They will reflect back to you the energy that you give to them, and at times they amplify it too. So a reflector really needs to take that 28-day cycle to kind of go through all the different reflections and the transits that can come about in this change. They're going to have quite a few people within 28 days that are going to speak to them about this change, that are going to come into their sphere about this change, and it will really give them the chance to sample the different energy before making a decision about what they want to do with this change. This is the best way to make sure that they're not just rushing in and saying yes immediately and then regretting it once that energy is kind of moved through them. A really practical way that they could do this is by journaling. Every day, taking out a journal and just reflecting on your day in a couple of sentences. And then at the end of your 28-day cycle, reading back that journal and seeing if there's any connections or through lines in it that kind of succinct everything together. That's how you're going to know that you're on the right path to your change and that you're not going to end up surprised or disappointed in that change. Now, when it comes to astrology, this is another layer that you can add onto your energy type to understand a little bit deeper the nuances of the change that you're up against. So if you already know how your energy type deals with change and some practical tools, there's also the onion or the extra layer that comes from astrology. So I'm going to be specifically speaking about the different elements and putting the zodiac signs in those groups. So we'll talk about air, fire, water, and earth. So when it comes to fire, these are our initiators. They're naturally enthusiastic. They are going to be the ones that actually really enjoy change and they thrive in change. But if our fire signs are going too quickly into change and they're not really thinking about all the repercussions that could come from this change, then they can feel really overwhelmed and it can also kind of stall them. So a really great thing for fire signs, if you are about to face some change, is maybe taking some time to sit and think about what the implications of this will be. If you're going into a new creative project, instead of waiting for those bursts of inspiration to come, a fire sign should actually schedule some time to be creative and work on their endeavors so that they can make sure that they are able to withstand and be fully committed to this change that they're looking to see. Next is going to be our earth signs. Earth signs are known for being practical and rooted and grounded. They love to be predictable and they love to know their next steps. So they can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to change because if they don't have any control over what's happening next, it can feel really uncomfortable for them. They can almost kind of like drag their feet really slowly instead of embracing it like maybe a fire sign would. So a really good tip for a earth sign when they're facing change is to make a pros and cons list and also write down a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, and just really having a clear understanding of if this doesn't work out, then I'll do this. If this doesn't work out, then I'll do this. Then when they go into that change or they're facing this change that's coming towards them, they're going to feel like they are really they're going to feel really well equipped to be able to deal with the change that's coming at them, and they will have a sense of control over it. It's not control in a bad egoic way. It's more so of control of feeling grounded and stable. Because for an earth sign, being stable and being predictable and having that predictability is key for them. Next is going to be our air signs. The air signs love change. Air signs are like just these free floating beings that just float through the sky, and they will just go whatever way the wind blows them. So they're actually really adaptable to change. They don't fear it as maybe some of the other elements or other signs would, and they're a little bit more understanding that this is a natural flow of life. But with that adaptability also comes the opportunity for overthinking and for being anxious about the change that's coming towards them. So for an air sign, a really good tip is to maybe sit down and journal about all of the different changes that are coming so that you can really get that mental chatter out of your head so that you can gain some clarity on the change that's coming. I know for myself, I'm an air sign. I'm a Gemini, so I really like to talk into my voice notes or my voice memo. I never really listened to it again, but just being able to get that out of me so that I can kind of stop the overthinking and get back to a place of clarity is really helpful for me when I'm facing change and I feel overwhelmed. And then finally, we have our water signs. Water signs are actually the ones that are going to feel change the deepest on a more cellular level. The water signs are more in tune with the feelings of all of those around them and the energies of those around them. So change can actually create like a little bit of a ripple in their day-to-day. So it's important for our water signs that when they are facing change, that they take some time to step back and remove themselves from people and situations to understand what is their feeling and their understanding of this change versus maybe the energy that they're picking up from a different person or situation. When they have that opportunity to get really clear and know what's theirs and create boundaries against other people's energy around the change, that's when they know that they are making the right decision or they're going in the right path or they're on the right side of this change. A really great way to be able to do this too, if it's hard for you to sneak away to be alone for a little bit to do this, is by either having a nice shower or a bath. When you're a water sign, just having that water coming over your face in the bath or in the shower, dripping down you, this is really almost like a ritualistic cleansing ceremony for you every time you do it. So it's important that if you are a water sign, getting to a body of water just to cleanse yourself of all the different energies, that's how you're going to come back to your square one and really know what is yours and what you want from this change. Now, a really great and interesting way of navigating change that I don't think a lot of people really take into account is using tarot. Tarot can be a wonderful guide for navigating change. There's some cards that you can pull to reflect on and really be able to sort of gain a sense of the different types of change that are out there and the different emotions that get evoked from them. So the first card that I would suggest that you can pull and really take a time to look at the imagery, really like look at the colors, look at the symbols that are on the card, no matter what deck you're using. This is all meant to evoke some emotion out of you and to kind of draw things up for you. So the first card is going to be the Fool's card. The Fool in tarot, he is all about new beginnings and going on a journey. So having this card pulled and really being able to look at the symbolism of this card is a great way to have a curious mindset when it comes to change. The next card that I'd recommend pulling is the Death card. And I know for a lot of people, when they pull the Death card or they see it come up in a reading, they get really scared. The Death card doesn't mean like a physical death of yourself. It means like that death and rebirth process. It's all about shedding what no longer serves you for the greater good of what's on the other side. So the Death card is actually meant to be like provoking. When you look at it, it's meant to create some turmoil in your body because it's helping you figure out the different triggers that are coming up to see what's no longer serving you. So being able to journal on the Death card about what is coming up for me when I look at this card or when I think about this card, or also what is no longer serving me that I can leave behind for a better life. And then the Tower card. This one's personally my favorite. The Tower card is all about like instant upheaval. It is about like sudden and dramatic change. It's what you didn't see coming, but it means that you need to shake the foundation of your core to get rid of all that doesn't serve you for what actually is meant for you. So this card is a really great card to reflect on because it basically is kind of a huge part of a lot of our fears. Sudden change, sudden upheaval. What if this happened? What if that happened? Lack mentality. It's a really great card to be able to reflect on what are your deepest fears that are really kind of buried beneath that you're maybe pushing aside or you don't want to think about. That's why the Tower card is such a wonderful card to reflect on for that reason. Another one that is really interesting, and again, it's a little bit provoking, but I promise you, it's not meant to be a scary card, but is the Devil card. The Devil card in most decks depicts a figure with two people who are chained to him and to each other. And this is all about the bonds that we need to break. They are unhealthy bonds. So maybe this is your addictions to overthinking, to numbing, drinking, alcohol, food, whatever. This is all about asking you to look at those chains that you're bound to that no longer serve you. And then for a little bit of a happier card, I love to reflect on the Star. So the Star is all about renewed hope and knowing that on the other side of change, there is light. So taking this card and really looking at the imagery and thinking about this card when you need a little bit of extra faith in your life can be really grounding and really healing as well. And just for a kick, if you want to just feel really great and joyous, go and pull the Sun card. The imagery on there is always so fun no matter what deck it's in, and it really just reminds us to not take ourselves or life so seriously and really go with the ebbs and flow of life, because at the end of the day, we're all just big kids. So with these three together, I hope that this can kind of help you start to understand your own rhythms for dealing with change, and then also some different ways, more on the esoteric side or tarot side, about how to navigate through this change without it being so scary. When it comes to change, I always like to think of change like a muscle. So you go to the gym to work out your muscles, right? So if you are constantly working out a muscle of overthinking, anxiety, always thinking about what you don't want to have happen on the other side of change, you're only growing that muscle. It doesn't mean that what you don't want to see have happen is going to happen because you think about it more and more and you're manifesting it into life. That doesn't usually happen. But the more you think about what you don't want to have happen, the more power you're giving to that muscle to grow. But if you can start thinking more about what you do want to have happen and what you are in control of, you are now growing a new muscle. This old muscle is not going to go away. Just because you stop thinking about it doesn't mean that it is going to be completely gone forever. But having that new thing to think about and that new what you do want to have happen on the other side of change, you're growing that muscle, and ultimately the other one is going to start to shrink, and it's not going to be as prevalent in your life anymore. It's not going to have as much control over you. So the best thing that you can really do for yourself when you are navigating this change is really think about what you do want to have happen versus what you don't. You can't control many things outside of you, but you can control the way that you see a situation and that you choose to focus on it and that you choose to create your energy around it. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode today, because again, there is a lot of heavy, crazy energy out there right now, but it is in change that we get to see the most and the biggest and the most expansive transformation. I know that change can be extremely uncomfortable, and it is easier to try and push it away, push it down, numb it out, and not think about it, but it's always going to be there. Think about that muscle, right? If you just keep working it out and trying not to think about it, or like thinking about it too much, it's always going to be there. But if you can take the time to really feel it and let it move through your body, because the only way over it is through it, it starts to relieve some pressure from that, and it is going to help you grow the muscle or the thoughts that you do want to have happen and not what you don't. And tarot is always a fun way to kind of take yourself out of the mental chatter and really start looking at things from a higher perspective once you understand your energy type and also how your zodiac sign deals with change. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you're navigating whatever change is coming in your life with grace. And if you are just flying through life right now and everything feels great, that's amazing. Make sure that you bookmark this episode so that if you do have some change that comes up or something unexpected happens, or if you want to be better prepared about how to deal with change for your energy type, this is a wealth of information that you can keep coming back to. So until next time, here's to health, wellness, and weirdness. Take care. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. For more resources and tools to explore human design, tarot, and astrology, head over to yourmagneticpurpose.com and book a live one-on-one reading or download your free chart.